Shelley, it's awesome to see you in the flesh. How are you?
Hi, really good, thank you.
Excellent.
Great to meet you.
Yeah.
IRL, yeah.
Yeah, in real life. I saw that tweet the other day and I thought, what does that mean? It took me a while, but I think that podcast episode we recorded was one of my favourite with the live music. It was fantastic.
Oh, awesome.
So I'm really grateful for that. I seem to remember at the time mentioning this sort of culture battle with music. Religion's got a pretty big head start. You're trying to play a bit of catch up. How much progress have we made on that front?
I think that there is a lot of secular music. I mean, you could be contrary and say that every song that's not religious is secular music. And so I think, as a culture, we're really used to accepting music that's not about religion, but in terms of music that is, actively questioning. I think that criticism has been part of, certain artists' discography for a while, and I think that's really encouraging, and more we see people who are confident to share those perspectives. And something I've noticed in the last few years is the atheist, secular and skeptic movements as a whole kind of embracing artistic and cultural elements and realizing the importance and value that they bring to the movement, and that's really encouraging as well. Even today here at the London Secular Conference, you see a real focus on art and an understanding of the power of art. We've got a panel coming up on art as resistance. We've got artworks all around the hall, and music and comedy, and so I think that we're doing really well.
It's looking good for art and secularism, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yesterday we had a quick chat and you mentioned how you really enjoyed playing some of the southern states in America, and
yes.
To me that almost seems quite a risk. What's the reaction been like then? Why do you enjoy it so much?
Well, I guess, when part of my art is to express myself, but also to connect with other people, and, as a songwriter, my favourite way of connecting with people is if it's a strong reaction. I mean, if someone enjoys themselves and they have a great night and they walk off and they don't think about it again, that's fine. But I really crave that intense reaction, and whether it be incredibly positive from someone really connecting with what I'm saying specifically, and feeling empowered and really resonating with what I'm saying, then that is what I'm aiming for. But also if someone disagrees vehemently and viscerally with what I'm saying, my hope is that it makes them question, why am I having this response, and look at some subject matter and think about things in a way that maybe they hadn't thought about it before. So they're engaging with an idea that is not where they're coming from, and I think that's really positive, and I crave both of those strong reactions, and particularly singing about secularism and atheism and criticizing my religion. Then in the US, the South is where I'm more likely to encounter both of those strong reactions, because for the home audience, the friendly audience, the people who I'm playing to secular conferences. I got to play at the first ever secular conference in Alabama a couple of years ago. Those are the people that I'm going to get that really strong response, where they don't get to hear those kinds of ideas, expressed publicly very often. And so in that sense, it can be very empowering for them. So I love providing that space and engaging in that way. And then also, you're going to get some strong reactions. Like I was saying to you yesterday, you'll be at the pub and singing, a song I don't believe in fairies. It says the words out loud, I don't believe in Jesus, I don't believe in Allah, and you hear these kind of, like you hear people talking, or you see people's heads turn, and people come up after the shows and, try and engage with me. And as I said, as an artist, that engagement and that strong reaction is just really, for me, what it's about.
What I really enjoy about your music as well, it's melodic and you can enjoy it. Many people don't even focus on the lyrics of songs; they just enjoy a good song, so it's not too on the nose. But on the other side of that, I think there's now like metal bands emerging, which are more aggressive, more explicit in their anti-religious message. Do you feel that the music scene has a place for that kind of thing? Do you think it fits in somewhere?
Do you mean for an aggressive message? Or?
Yeah, more of a fuck religion kind of attitude.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there is a place for that. I think that's a great thing about art. There's a place for every perspective, and I think a lot of people with hardcore kind of metal music, they don't even listen to the words before they find it aggressive and intimidating, which, you know, says more about, I guess, the way people identify or their, you know, engagement with a particular genre of music, because they're, you know, identifying something as being threatening or intimidating before they've, you know, even engaged with the ideas. And a lot of the time they're not particularly intimidating ideas, they're just self-expression in the same way that every genre is. But I definitely think that there's room for that, and I think people are embracing it. I think we like to see artists challenge. We like to see artists, you know, kind of push those boundaries. That's always the artists and songwriters that I've, you know, really resonated with. So I think, yeah, it's definitely accepted, and it's interesting talking sometimes to like mainstream media about it, and, you know, you get very different results. You say, and why are you being antagonistic? You know, that people, they don't like it, they find it confronting, they find it challenging, they think it's antagonistic, but then, or they don't want to talk about it because they think it's a minority view, it's going to challenge too many of their viewerships, and so they don't want to, you know, really alienate or isolate people. But then some media outlets are really, you know, happy to share, you know, kind of minority perspectives, and particularly growing minority perspectives, and also, you know, are prepared to challenge themselves and think about things in a different way. And that's been another one of my favourite experiences of sharing this kind of music, which is, you know, talking to an interviewer who said, I've never thought about this stuff before until I heard it in this format. And I, you know, like you said, people listening to a pretty melody, you know, I kind of like hold people hostage. I want people to enjoy themselves. Like I said, if they enjoy it and walk away, that's without taking more into it, then that's also, you know, I'm happy with that as well. But yeah, it's nice to be able to kind of get that message in there as well, in that context of, you know, maybe a folk music or a fun gig or a night out.
Okay, where can people go online to find out more about your music?
Cool, so you can check out my website, shelleysegal.com. I recently started a Patreon where I have all of my digital music available, and I put new music up once or twice a month and make little home videos, and that's available at patreon.com/shelleysegal, and you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and down the street, but please be friendly.
Shelley, it's been lovely speaking to you. Thank you very much.
You too. Thanks for having me.
Arif Rahman, it's nice to finally meet you in the person. How are you, sir?
I'm really good. I am also pleasantly surprised seeing you in person.
Oh, thank you.
We had a little episode, I think, on your podcast some time ago. So I was looking forward to meeting you at some point.
Well, I really enjoyed that conversation. I think it's really quite important what you do in terms of standing up to the theocrats who target Bangladeshi bloggers such as yourself. You painted quite a depressing picture of that situation last time we spoke. Do you think there's been any improvement, or is it more of the same?
That depressing situation where people were being slaughtered on the streets, and then society as a whole was kind of coming out and blaming us, the victims, that may have changed, as in for the last year or so we have not had any killings, but things have evolved in a different direction now. It's now the government come up with laws. That law is being used to silence dissidents and anybody who could speak against the government. So I think killing us was almost the first phase. Now that, because we were the spearheading the progressive movement, and once they cut us off, now they can take care of the other people. So
I think one of the things that came across when we did speak was the level of corruption there is in terms of the authorities, and it doesn't seem a lot of appetite for hunting people down and bringing them to justice who commit crimes against secularists, freethinkers, etc. Have there been any prosecutions for these spate of murders we saw some time ago?
All these murders, and there has been only one prosecution, and that was the first murder that Thaba Baba that took place, the first murder, and after that nothing. We hear that there are processings happening, but I don't think government is actively pursuing those, because to some extent I think government knows who they are, and somehow government was actually some part of the government or the intelligence agencies were helping those Islamists. It's like the let your dog out. So if you know your dog has bitten your neighbor, you are not going to go and kill your own dog. It's just pretending to put him down for a few days. It's just an analogy, basically.
It's a good one. One of the things that's been mentioned quite a bit at this conference, seems to be on the agenda quite a lot now, is Islamic reform. In a way, I don't think it even came up several years ago, and now it seems to be on the agenda. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on it in general. There's a lot of skepticism around it and a lot of support at the same time.
Islamic reform is that it's difficult to talk, but I think it's something of a controlled demolition in some way, or should I say controlled explosion. So since the people, a lot of people are angry about this Islamism thing. I think the PR firms that were tasked with the spread of Islamism are now given a sub-task of keeping that anger in some way, or managing that anger. So reform, those words are being used, but religion comes from the God, and Muslims' religion is the word of God, is Quran. So how you can ask the God to change it? This is beyond me. So there is no scientific way of actually approaching it. It may be a lot of PR, but I don't think it's achievable. Because end of the day, there is no one version of Islam. Islam does not exist. It's just whatever at that moment the mullahs, the collective of mullahs, is teaching that particular generation. Because, for example, people of my generation who grew up around, say, 20 years ago, I'm not 20 years, I'm just saying when they had their senses, whatever they were taught, that generation of mullah was not teaching us the same Islam that, for example, this generation of mullahs are teaching this generation of children. I don't know if it makes sense. So Islam evolves and changes. So what reform? I don't know. I mean, I'm in the skeptical side too.
Yeah, I think I side with you on that one. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about the multimedia content you're producing online now.
Oh, thanks for asking. I mean, I wish I was producing a lot of really nice. I have ideas. I want to do more, but it's just time and effort and everything. I just can't, collect all of this. So what I do, what I used to always do is start conversations and generate ideas with my blogger friends. For example, 10 or 11 years ago, when all this started in Bangladesh, the new technology that came at that time was able to write in your own language, in your own scripts on the internet, and then publish it and share it with others. That actually, in some way, I took part of it, but I'm not saying it was my sole credit, but I did some bits of it, and it created this whole blogging generation. But now, since things have changed, internet has become more fast, and we now have audio video, like you're doing a video of me. So I've expanded my territory, or should I say practice, into audio visual. So I have this discussion show once a week at least, where I invite my colleagues or anybody who I think we could have a discussion with, and we would like you to join us as well. So we invite people over Skype, and then it goes out as a by two-person discussion side by side, and it goes out to Facebook Live, and then it ends up in YouTube at some point. So, and I see that people actually watch them, and it also encourages the discussion in a non typed way. So it's expanding. So I'm helping my friends also and do the same as well.
Excellent. And what's the name of your YouTube channel for anyone who wants to see those conversations?
Oh, that's interesting, because if you type Bengal in English Arif Rahman, you won't find me, because my channel name is in Bengali. But if you type Arif MCSE, if you can add it into the description or something, you might find me. So my face is on the thingy. And yeah, thanks for asking.
No problem, Arif. It's been a pleasure. It's great to catch up with you in person. Thank you for speaking to me.
Very nice. Thank you.